Shalom, shalom. I want to start off by giving all praises, glory, and honor to the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem Yahushai, Bahashem Rakakadash. I am the brother in the pot for Great Millstone, Tampa. I want to give double honor to elders and apostles of Great Millstone who teach you well. Peace and blessings to who elect. And I want us to listen again. And I want to get into a quick lesson. All right. And I'm going to title this lesson, World War III, Be Ready. All right. World War III, Be Ready. And the reason I'm titling this lesson that is because, I was just passed by an article basically explaining the death of the two soldiers that died in the Iranian attack. And just showing you, all right, that we already are in war. All right, we're already in WW3. All right, for those who still in denial, which is nothing to deny anymore, it's there in your face, and it's as live, as ever, So, as bros and brothers, of the faith I've been watching, we have been also warning and telling you, what's going on. All right, and we already warned you of this before. We already warned you on coming to America. All right. All this is coming to America. It's called these attacks, these drone attacks, missile attacks, soldier attacks. It's all coming to America. All right, and it's only getting worse until then. So, this is an article from Dom is Live News. It says U.S. military identifies two soldiers killed in Iranian attack on Georgia as Iran war death toll reaches 17. And this is what they say, all right, but knowing the propaganda that America uses, they know their soldiers, a lot more soldiers has died, been injured, have been killed, all right, and probably, a lot more or a lot less for Iran.
In action to...
I'm going to play these two videos, grab out some scriptures, and Lord willing, this lesson is edifying to the hopeful elect and the ones listening in.
Yeah, good morning, Errol. So the soldiers have been identified as 19-year-old Isabella Gonzalez, just 19 years old, from Carrollton, Texas, and 25-year-old First Lieutenant Tyler James Freehan. He's from Hawaii, both assigned to Army Air Missile Defense Command. And we're hearing that an investigation is underway as the fighting continues. For the ninth straight night, U.S. forces unleashed wave after wave of airstrikes against Iran, extending its reach and scope of targets beyond the Strait of Hormuz, according to U.S. Central Command. But Washington's vow to swiftly punish Iran for the deaths of U.S. service members has this region bracing for much more to come. U.S. officials tell CBS News a third U.S. soldier was killed in northern Iraq during a controlled detonation of an Iranian drone, bringing the total number of U.S. troops killed in action to 17 since the war began. Footage of the precision ballistic missile attack on the U.S. airbase in Jordan suggests it came with little or no warning. Shocked military personnel scrambled to get to shelters. The missile and drone barrage that killed two service members, with an additional one still listed as missing, was the second time in 2 days Iran managed to launch a direct hit on that base. Overall, 4 Iranian attacks in 5 days targeting U.S. forces in Jordan has left dozens wounded. President Trump paid tribute to the fallen.
Well, we feel very badly, but those great people, those great patriots were out there fighting that Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon.
In action to 17.
So, as you see it, 2 of those soldiers, 3 that were killed actually, 2 of them has been identified, all right? And like I said, those numbers could be a lot more, than what they're saying, but, the U.S. uses their propaganda, okay? But if people really did know what was actually going on out there, people would panic. People would be scared. People would fear. All right, and that's what they're not trying to have right now, is that panic. So it said this girl here, I believe her name was, what was her name? Isabel Gonzalez, was 19, man. So these young children coming straight out of high school, you know, signing that contract and going straight into the military, thinking they're going to get the benefits. They're going to receive benefits, free schooling and a better living situation, but their lives are being cut short. All right, and it's because they chose to fight for Esau's war, and Esau's military. And now you have it where it passed the bill. All right, where that draft is going to be, automatic. You're going to be automatically drafted into the military. Those from 18 through 26 years old, I believe. And once that draft come, best believe you already signed, or you automatically signed into joining in that military. All right, to fight the war. But we good, bro. You got brothers that's young. All right, you got brothers that's under, still 18, 19, in their 20s, and ultimately those men are going to be preserved. Those brothers are going to be preserved by the Lord Yahweh Shai. So he ain't really stressing it, man. Me myself, I'm 20. All right, but it ain't nothing, because I know the Lord is preserving his men, preserving those who are serving him. So this don't put fear into our hearts. It just makes it more exciting. We are in that much more exciting times, knowing that we're getting closer, all right, into that transition. This is 2 Ezra chapter 16 and verse 33. The virgin shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The woman shall mourn, having no husbands. And that girl, that woman should have been supposed to be a wife at home. You're not supposed to be in the military, but America has demonized the society so much that women now think they can get into the military and put a gun in their hands and fight for America, but all they doing is being an extra pair of cheeks, for the Iranian soldiers, and even their own soldiers, That's what women do. They go there and they, open their legs throughout the whole base, the barracks, all right? But the Lord's going to give them over into that lust, all right? And then it's going to be a lot of more men, all right, that's going to force their way into those legs, all right? But this one got a nuke shot on her, man, or a drone shot at her, all right? So it's only getting worse, bro. And Jake not ready for that. Jake's still trying to continue to live out their lives here in peace, but we're not in a time of peace. We're not in a time of love. All right? If Jake would just follow after the scriptures, you wouldn't have to worry about these things, and these things would just take place. All right? But, Jake don't want to listen, bro. This is she was definitely a Northern Kingdom. All right, Jake. All right, and she ended up going out there fighting for, trying to get benefits. She got sent off to get killed. All right, and this damn Edomite, they ain't really talking much about him, because he fighting for his kingdom. All right, ain't nothing wrong with that. This damn Edomite fighting for his kingdom, man. So he died within the fight. All right, for defending his country. And, most likely he wasn't trying to go there to do that either. He's probably just going in there for the benefits. But that just shows you how demonized and weakened Babylon has become over the years. All right, that, these people, they're not going into the army or the military to fight, but more so they've been told that, there ain't gonna be no war no time soon. All right, it ain't no fight to fight. So they got into there, and now they got themselves into a fight that they didn't sign up for, and now they want to leave and get out of there, and they don't want to go fight the war. But this is what you signed up for, all right? So there's gonna be a lot of people trying to go AWOL, Especially seeing this girl die out there. A lot of people gonna want to go AWOL now. All right, but it says, bringing back Second Ezra 16 and verse 33, the virgins shall mourn, having no bridegrooms. The woman shall mourn, having no husbands. Their daughters shall mourn, having no helpers. In the war shall their bridegrooms be destroyed, and their husbands shall perish of famine. So the men, all right, they gonna all be in war. All right, the bridegrooms, they gonna all get drafted to war. The husbands are gonna die and perish in the famine. So the wicked, or Jake that's not following after the Lord, you ain't gonna have no way to escape. It's either gonna die by the sword or die by hunger. All right, and either way, you're gonna be judged by the Lord. Okay, so a lot of these women ain't gonna have no husbands. They ain't gonna have a man, all right, to be married to, and they're gonna, be mourning because they don't have protection. They don't have stability within their household. All right, and especially in the time in those desperate times, all right, they ain't gonna have none of that. So what are they gonna look for? They're gonna try to look for the man of the Lord, and they're gonna be rejected by them. They're gonna be rejected. Shit, in that time, I'm gonna be rejecting most of their ass, bro. I know it. All right, because it's just gonna be too much in that day. All right, now if the Lord have me, deal with them, yeah, I'm gonna deal with them, bro. The Lord you gonna know who the Lord wants you to deal with. But a lot of these women are gonna get the stiff arm, man. A lot of these women are gonna be out of luck. All right, because the Lord chose them to be out of luck. All right, He chose them to be destined for destruction. Just like this woman and this man and the other soldier that got killed within this attack. All right, they were destined for that. That was their destruction. That was their judgment. All right, Scripture says, shall any perish being innocent? These people were innocent. The Lord judged them. The Lord took them out. All right, so no, we don't feel sorry. We warned. They best believe they were warned. Hey, we finna go to war. Don't go in the military. Oh no, we ain't going to war anytime soon. I want to get military benefits. All right, well that was your benefit there. All right, your family benefited off your death somehow. But this is Revelation chapter 11 and verse 14. Because a lot of these people are gonna come back in caskets, man. All right, we know that. We understand that full and well. They just don't know, all right, how serious it is. What we talking about, what we prophesying, everything is serious, man. We take it, fully serious because we know what's going on. We know how serious the Lord is. All right, so this is Revelations 11, verse 14. The second woe is past, and behold, the third woe cometh quickly. All right, and NLT says, the second terror is past, but look, the third woe is coming quickly. All right, so that second woe, that Second World War III, when there was a bunch of death and destruction and violence, that's past, but, quickly shall the third woe come afterwards. All right, so we coming into those times, bro. Let's see. How long ago was WW2? September 1st, 1939, and it ended at the 2nd of September, 1945. All right, so 6 years. Okay, 6 years. Have that war was going for, and it ended in 1945. All right, so hey, bro, this is soon after, that World War III has come. Now we're in war again. Now we are facing, different enemies again. And when I say we, I mean the U.S. But we here. But this is the U.S., bro. They are in this war again. They're fighting again because this is a judgment. This is gonna be the last war. World War III, the last war. All right, that's a good movie title. Okay, But you know, Lord, when this lesson was edifying to the hopeful elect, I just want to go into a quick lesson on that. You know, I want to give all praises, glory, and honor to the Lord Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, Bahashem, Kakadash. Once again, double honor to the elders and apostles, a great millstone, teach them well. Peace and blessings to hopeful elect. Shalom.